Higgity, hey, what's going on? How is everyone doing? Just checking in. Usual stuff. We're here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We're keeping up the daily streams, and we're not going to continue yesterday's stream because that'll take about an hour, and I don't have an hour to spare today. So, yesterday's stream, we're going to go continue with more yesterday. We're talking about the openly black stuff and all these different things. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow, but or maybe Monday. We'll play it by ear, but I have it all prepped up. That's all going to be done. But like, comment, share, subscribe. If you come in here, definitely hit the like button, share it with people. This one is going to be. I know I always say this, but this time for real, it's going to be pretty short. But I thought it'd be a fun little thing to talk about. To talk about the shill system and how there's a whole pipeline for shilling that is so normalized. It's not that the people are shilling, it's that it's so normalized, nobody has to hide it. So, we talk about this a lot with that clip of people. We show those teens on that show Frontline talking about they don't even know what selling out means. Someone has to explain it to them. And even though I know a lot of y'all have seen it, a lot of y'all are probably sick of it. Maybe I should show it because I don't want to always assume that everyone that I gotta treat every stream like it's somebody's first, that I shouldn't assume that everyone watches all the streams in order and knows exactly what we're talking about the minute we mention it. So let me just find this one real fast. It's the example I think is important before we move on, because I feel like we've seen these people we've not only seen these people come of age, but we've seen the other type of people, older people, adopt the values of the younger people, because now we're living in a society where we don't have elders, we just have old people. And when you don't have elders are old people who mentor and lead by example and mold young people. Now we just have old people and we have youngers. We have the young people dictating to the old people how to act, and the old people are chasing the platforms, the technology, the eyeballs, the values, the morality of the younger people. And I feel like Gen X was very big into making that happen. Gen X was very big into the kids will save us all. And they say that all the time. It's like, we've had our shot. The kids will save us all. And make it sound like noble, like we're ceding the stage to the kids. But I think it's a form of Gen X cowardice, normalizing this abdication of responsibility. Hey, Bongani. Hey, Chaotic Goods. Hey, BL. Hey, Sean Breezy, GM Fair Player. So here's so real quick, as usual, hit the super chat if you're enjoying the stream. That's that thing in the bottom of the chat where you hit the dollar sign. You can give a donation or put a super sticker. And if you give a donation, we will read your comment on the screen, within reason, as long as you're not saying crazy stuff. Hit the PayPal, champagnesharks@gmail.com, or Venmo or Cash App us at Champagne Sharks. And on the bottom of the screen, we'll put all that information scrolling so you can remember. But in the meantime, this is the clip, and I know a lot of y'all people have seen it before. I apologize for those of you who have, but it's short, so sitting through it's not the end of the world. But I always want to be fair to those people who this is their first Champagne Sharks video and don't know a lot of what we're talking about. So tell me if you can hear the sound.
And by my own rules, which is the coolest part, because it's like I am doing what I love, and I feel like a lot of opportunities are there if I want to work for them.
Catching Fire is on Audible, so audible.com/TylerReplay. You get your first book free.
Selling out is not selling out anymore. It's sort of getting the brass ring. It's like if you get Taco Bell to sponsor your stuff, it's like, hey, look, I'm important enough that Taco Bell realizes you're an important audience to reach. So yeah, let's all geek out about Taco Bell for a video. I don't care.
We just bump into John Mayer because who else would you bump into at a Taco Bell party? And he was so tall.
I say now, like, selling out doesn't even exist as a term. I don't hear young people talking about selling out. I'm not sure they even know what it means.
Selling out. Can you define that?
Well, selling out means, like, it could mean different things.
I guess, I don't know, I think first of like a concert that's like totally sold out, like no tickets left. That's probably not what you meant though.
I don't really know what that means.
You could sell out like an album, or you could like sell out like you're a sellout, like you're nowhere in life. You're never gonna get back on top.
Yeah, so that's basically that. Was the audio playing for that one? Please tell me it was, and I just didn't sit through that for nothing. Oh boy. My computer has frozen, so now crap, my computer's frozen. How about now? Sound working? How about now? So yeah, basically, I guess I was streaming so hard, I just crashed the whole computer. The whole computer just first the screen froze, and then the screen froze, and then suddenly the whole thing shut down. Then my mic wasn't working. That's just how hardcore the streaming is. It's just hitting critical mass. But yeah, how much of that were y'all able to see? I don't know when it ended up cutting off, but we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to redo it all over again. But what we were talking about was the whole thing with selling out, and I was replaying a clip because I know a lot of times people don't watch all the episodes, and I wanted people to know the concept that we were talking about. So let's try it again. First off, how far did it get? Did it stop at the Taco Bell thing? Yeah, I'm telling too much truth, man. Just dropping too much heat. The the people. Okay, yeah. So sell out an arena or anything. Let's just back it up. Sorry for wasting all this time, but let's just get to it.
And I feel like a lot of opportunities are there if I want to work for them.
I went back a little too far.
Fire is on Audible, so audible.com/TylerReplay. You get your first book free. Bam.
Selling out is not selling out anymore. It's sort of getting the brass ring. It's like if you get Taco Bell to sponsor your stuff, it's like, hey, look, get Taco Bell to sponsor your stuff. It's like, hey, look, I'm important enough that Taco Bell realizes you're an important audience to reach. So yeah, let's all geek out about Taco Bell for a video. I don't care.
We just bump into John Mayer because who else would you bump into at a Taco Bell party? And he was so
I
tall.
say now, like selling out doesn't even exist as a term. I don't hear young people talking about selling out. I'm not sure they even know what it means.
Selling out. Can you define that?
Well, selling out means like it could mean different things.
I guess, I don't know. I think first of like a concert that's like totally sold out, like no tickets left. That's probably not what you meant though.
I don't really know what that means.
You could sell out like an album, or you could like sell out like you're a sellout, like you're nowhere in life. You're never gonna get back on top.
Yeah, so basically they don't even know what selling out is, but this thing was like from like 15 years ago. So you got to figure a lot of these people are of the age where they're in the media, they're doing real things. No, this is not. Wow, I'm surprised, B. Scott. You never seen. Now I'm glad I replayed it because B. Scott's here all the time, so I thought he would definitely have seen it, but I guess I haven't played it enough. Yeah, so this is what I talk about: the difference between buying in and selling out. Like these people don't even have a concept to betray outside of just shilling. Like they just know how to shill, and that's basically it. Part of selling out is that you believe in something first, and then you become like reliant on the money, and you betray your values. But what these people are talking about is not even having the value to begin with. So they don't have anything to sell out. All they're doing is buying in. What that's called is buying in. Buying in is when you just are pre-sold. You don't have any core values to betray. Like buying in is part of the authenticity. They they actually are being their authentic selves when they shill. They don't have a core value outside of what's popular and what'll pay them and what'll get them known and seen. And this thing, what's interesting about it is those people were high school age at the time, but that is an old documentary. The year it came out, I think is the exact year it came out, 2014. So it's like 7 years from now. So these people are in their early to late 20s. Some of them might be even 30s. People who are, because some of the people in that documentary were already in the 20s. But I think the other thing is why I say that we don't have elders anymore. We just have old people. You have older people chasing, because now older people are working jobs where no one sees value in an older person. You're washed really early, and you're judged on young values. How well can you bring eyeballs? How well can you get a youth audience? How well can you tap into buying power? So this is like a trickle up value. Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean selling out in general just means that you believe in something, but somebody offers you enough money that you betray what you believe in. But if you don't believe in anything outside of getting money, then how can you sell out? Getting money is your core value. You're actually being more true to yourself. And yeah, so I wanted to give this as an example. I've talked before about this story came out a while ago, and I thought this is a perfect example of this stuff coming to age. I believe this woman who wrote it is pretty young. She's in her 20s, but this woman, Elise Whitney, writes, "This cover story changed my life. In the span of 3 weeks, I went from an emotional 3-hour Zoom and Animal Crossing with Chrissy Teigen to her emailing me a job offer. I'm so thankful for Chrissy trusting me to tell her story and excited for our adventures to come at Cravings." So, this thing I believe happened on September 9th, right? This woman tweets out how tacky the story is. August 17th, the most personal news. Chrissy Teigen is my new boss. I'm thrilled to announce I'm the new managing editor of Cravings. That's Chrissy Teigen's like Goop style lifestyle media empire. And we'll be moving to LA next month. I'll miss New York City, but I'll drown my sorrows in spicy miso pasta, as drawn by my talented friend Nancy Pappas. So she plugs her friend as well, because that's what the Boosterism Society, that's what part of this Shill ecosystem is that you are constantly boosting your friends. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty crazy. But what's crazy wasn't the quid pro quo, but that there was not even a sense of I should be hiding this. You know, that is the crazy part, and that's the part that reminds me of that frontline piece, that you don't have to hide it if you're like those kids who didn't even know that selling out is a even concept. They don't even, it's not like they know what selling out is and they're lying to themselves to do it. They actually didn't even know that the thing even exists as something that you can do, right? I don't know who this lady in the cereal box thing is. You'll have to tell me about that. You've mentioned it a couple of times. I've been trying to spend less time on Twitter, like seeing the news of the day, just to keep myself sane. So I'm not like constantly know like before. So this paragraph is in the article. This is from the profile of Chrissy Teigen. The 34-year-old has a full plate running 2 companies. Cravings by Chrissy Teigen, her lifestyle brand with a cookware and tabletop line at Target, and Macy's, a blog with videos and recipes, and 2 best-selling cookbooks. Okay, let me say that again. The 34-year-old has a full plate running 2 companies. Cravings by Chrissy Teigen, her lifestyle brand with a cookware and tabletop line at Target and Macy's, a blog with video and recipes, and 2 suit and tie productions. Tie spelled THAI. Her production company, which has a first look deal with Hulu, including an upcoming show with the working title Family Style, co-hosted with David Chang, and the second season of Quibi series Chrissy's Court with her mom Pepper. After helping her mom with her Thai cookbook all quarantine, Teigen will tackle Cravings 3, which she describes as how I eat now, brighter and healthier. But most important is the cookbook, blah, blah, blah. So the whole thing, her whole coverage of her was just a glowing, shilling commercial. It was a press release. She got this job to cover for Marie Claire. She does a press release basically in the article, and then she ends up getting a job later. And then it continues with this. Teigen wants to be clear about political intentions, and that starts with her family casting votes in November. We are proud to stand with Biden. We're not only voting for Biden because it's not Trump. We're voting for him because we think he's going to do an incredible job of bringing a bit of healing to the country. We are a divided, hurt nation and needs to be brought back together. Biden is someone who looks into our issues with clear eyes, empathy, and understanding for being involved in politics. I also look at a presidential candidate as someone I want my kids to be able to look up to. I don't see that in Donald Trump or any of his family. So she's helping shill for Teigen. Teigen in the article is shilling for Biden. So there's like an inception of shilling, like the movie by Christopher Nolan, where it's like it's a Russian doll of shilling. Because Chrissy Teigen's probably hoping to meet with Biden and build her profile from working with Biden. Probably not that different than what Kim Kardashian was doing with Trump, even though I must admit, I think Kim Kardashian was doing it from a more sincere place because Kim Kardashian's already the number one influencer in the world. I think Kim Kardashian reached her peak influencing and is actually tired of it and wants to do something real and become like a lawyer. Whereas right now, Teigen's doing it because she wants to be the new Kim Kardashian. And I just found that really interesting. But what was really, really crazy about this wasn't that she said this, but the amount of hating that the woman who was retweeting this got. So you have this person here that says, God forbid a successful woman of color give another talented woman of color an opportunity to further her career. So she kind of made it like a race thing. First off, this woman doesn't this truly feels like thinly veiled racism masked as being anti-capitalist. LOL. Very weird energy, especially considering this is a lifestyle magazine profile, not a time expose. These people are just saying whatever they have to say. If it was a time expose, they wouldn't give a fuck either. I hate when people do that. Jamila Lemieux comes in. She's like, God forbid, Now, she got the job before they published a story. So they published a story. That's why I showed you the timeline. She got the job on August 17. Marie Claire published a story September 8th. So what that means is she got the job the day after she did the shill piece. She turns the job into Marie Claire. Marie Claire publishes it a month later. And what that shows is not that the selling out happened, it's that nobody cares. Nobody even understands it's wrong for something to do. And someone pointed out, you're using identity to justify ethical violations that are overwhelmingly used by incompetent white people to promote their incompetent friends. So this is the thing. We don't want to change the system. We just want to be able to perpetuate the same mediocrity that white people do, So this person goes, you sound jealous, and puts a sassy gif. That's always a sign that someone has a very adult thing to contribute to a conversation when they call you jealous or a hater and then do a sassy gif. That really is someone that, is a powerful thinker. Honestly, who fucking cares? She got a cool job she likes and she's doing well. Look at how happy she is, and then the excuse is always to just promote more mediocrity. So someone says, well, RIP to journalism, I guess. Yes, Marie Claire, bastion of the free and fair press, holding the world accountable. So what their thing is, hey, it's just Marie Claire. But when it's time for her to move up to something bigger, they're going to have an excuse for that too. They don't really have any values. They don't care about anything. And someone asked this question. Someone said, here's a question I've been asking a lot of people lately. Even if she doesn't think she should feel shame, she must know that many other people will find this shameful. No? The answer is yes, but they don't care. I disagree. I think not only does she not feel shame, her peers are the people in that PBS Frontline video that I put. And what I mean by that is her and her peers don't know this is bad or that should be bad. And I don't think she knows that people will find it bad, but that she just doesn't care. I think she honestly is naive enough not to know. Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be Crazy. Yeah, I was just looking at the comments now. Hey Didi, how's it going? Yeah, you know, sell off your core values, money. Kids will spend a third of their lives creating free content and will feel fulfilled if they get a swag bag or get to breathe the same air of a creator. Yeah, because like Kenny always says, if you give these people a million, um, $80,000 or a million retweets, they will go with the million retweets. They like clout more than they actually like money, because they have this mistaken belief that clout will always eventually lead to money anyway, but money won't always lead to clout. So clout is the urgency, and they convince themselves that if they get the clout, the money's inevitable anyway. It's probably the only thing they can delay gratification on is money in exchange for clout. So I mean, as it went on and on, just person after person just going in on um um making excuses for it. And the reason they all make excuses for it is because if you look at all the anime avatars in this thing, you look at all the um bios and look what these people's bios are. They're what I call wanna checks. They don't have a blue check yet, but they want a blue check. They expect a blue check to come at some point, and they need this ecosystem to exist so that they can take advantage of it. They haven't had a chance to take advantage of it yet. So I'll give you an example. This girl, Cherry Blurred Fangirl. So she has all the hallmarks. She calls herself a blurred, you know, fangirl. Cherry LA. So she must live in LA. You do her bio at AfterBuzz TV host, film and TV critic, moderator. She puts her Cash App in there. You know, she's a content creator, and she's part of AfterBuzz. What is AfterBuzz? AfterBuzz is the ESPN of TV talk, created by Maria Menounos and Undergaro, with the vision to serve TV superfans anywhere, and they have some sister networks. So basically, she is part of the ecosystem, and she's with Maria Menounos now, but she might get to cover or do someone that's going to help her get a better job. So of course, like, jealous, you know, that's these people are all like at the Mean Girls table in high school. That's what the whole world is like to them, you know. Someone weren't you taught to be happy for people's good fortune? You come off bitter like that other woman who went after Teigen, you know. And people keep saying having ethics and standards is the same as being bitter, like wonderful. But yeah, there's this thing. The laughable one is not the person who gives up value, but the person who has the values to begin with. So I'm not laughable for not knowing what a sellout is. You're laughable for even having the term sellout and thinking it matters, you know? And in a world without elders, just old people, that's all there is. Fandom is activism now. All of it. Politics, fandom. That's why the article in it's Marie Claire, the same thing people are laughing at for saying, oh, it's not a bastion of whatever, but it's asking political questions as well. And making so if it's something that's too frivolous to even hold any standards to, then why is there political advocacy in it and endorsements and political questions? Everything is flattened and everything matters until you need it not to matter, and then suddenly nothing matters. You know, the shilling must be contained at and perpetuated at all points. And there's like a lot of this. Like we've talked before about Damon Lindelof, and Damon Lindelof was an interesting guy, because with the Damon Lindelof thing, what Lindelof did was there were these recappers and Twitter people, there were bloggers and recappers who would constantly recap and review his stuff, and they would be like very glowing, like super fans. They were basically fanish recaps that were appearing in mainstream publications. And Lindelof has hired a bunch of those people to become his actual writers on his later shows. So some people from his writing staff in Watchmen were people that used to recap and write about his shows, and he offered them jobs because you know, they would kind of kiss his butt a lot. But then what happens? Oh, someone said AfterBuzz reviews shows are not very good. It's pretty much a commercial for the show without any honest critique. I can already tell you that without even checking it, because if that woman is doing it and she's like a cheerleader for mediocrity like that, and blurred fangirl, yeah, like she's really gonna risk offending someone that A, can give her a job, or B, that she just stands because they're successful. I mean, she'd probably stand just for the chance to get to meet them. And but so anyway, with Damon Lindelof being on record of giving critics dream jobs of being staff writers on hit HBO shows, when it's time for the next round of critics to review his next show, like in this case Watchmen, like if this guy's doing leftovers reviews and these multiple people get jobs off of it, what do you think's going to happen to these people like freelancing or doing lowly spammy content critique jobs when it's time for them to do Watchmen? It's a job run. It's a job application. It's a open job posting, basically. Reviewing the work of people in the content ecosystem right now is basically an open job call. Like that's what these people view reviewing Watchmen like. It's either a job, or maybe they'll get to do a Zoom call with them or get access or a swag bag, and they give out swag bags for these things now. That's the funny thing. Now, I want to show y'all another example. Check out this example right here. This came up. I give an example with the Wonder Woman thing, right? But this happened again. I put Access Shill Media is earning the swag bags again. To be fair, I'm sure this will be better than Wonder Woman 1984, but still, it's funny to note that many of these same critics were raving about that movie too in a Twitter moment after gaining early access. And what it is this. Twitter put up this moment. It's paid for, right? Where it says, here are the first reactions to Wanda's Marvel Vision. And they put, all these people with blue checks who got to see early things of Wandavision. And of course, it's all glowing. But a lot of these same people were in a similar story that Twitter put up that was curated and clearly paid for, where it says, early reviews in for Wonder Woman, and here's what they're saying. And the people are like, this was the best thing ever. It was better than Casablanca. I was so moved. I cried, and then also tune in later to see my live Zoom with Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. Like, people were like, with no sense of irony or whatever. People were straight up putting that they were getting access to the creators as a result of all this, right? So same thing happened again, but I found this interesting. This person here posted this when this Twitter moment was happening, and all these critics were giving their surprisingly all positive reviews of WandaVision. And it might be a good show. I don't know. But the problem is you can't trust these people because they give the same thing for every show. It says, so this person goes, I'm so jealous of the press getting all those WandaVision goodies. And she posts a picture of the swag bag, which is crazy. So this is a swag bag. And back in the day, swag bags are nothing new. But back in the days, writers used to get them. It was an open joke that in LA, vintage stores and flea markets are full of swag bags. Like, the old critics weren't stands and overgrown children to the same degree that these new ones are. So they kind of view these things as just kind of laughable. Plus, they were probably better compensated too. They weren't compensated with clout like these people are. Like, they were bought with actual salaries. They weren't, and prestige. They weren't bought with Funko Pops and the chance to get clout. So their standards were kind of different. But what's interesting is these people worship the swag bag. The swag bag is the gold, not this extra thing that, oh my God, another swag bag. Let me throw it out. Like, some of these people, if you probably go to the house, they'll probably make place settings combined with all the swag bags they got. You'd have like a Vision and Scarlet Witch glass matched with a Wonder Woman glass with Avengers plate, and Harry Potter napkins, and they'll invite you to an adult dinner like that. That's how major the stuff is. Where anyone who's in the industry before would tell you, like, this stuff used to like fill up landfills in California. Yeah, it's like the new payola, but it's the lowest form of payola. And yeah, they often have AfterBuzz often has actors or showrunners on while they review the show. That's ridiculous. Yeah, you're not gonna give it honest, unless you're like one of those people who doesn't give a f and tells people to their face that they're messed up. But this is what's interesting. This woman isn't even the critic who got this. Well, I say critic in scare quotes. She's not even the critic who got the swag bag. This is what's crazy to me. She is posting another critic getting the swag bag. She's worshiping someone else's swag bag and dreaming of getting the same swag bag herself. Like, and what useful thing is in the swag bag? Really, it's just there's a serving tray, which that'll probably be in a glass, and a coaster, and a fake TV guide. It's like, okay, and that's what content is. Content's always based on other content. That's what makes the content different than the work. So everything here is referential of something else, referential of another era, referential of something else. It's all cool because of the recognition. First, it's cool because it's based on other contents in comic books and another property or another genre. It's superheroes, Vision, Scarlet Witch. So it has inherent value. Like, they're not crazy about this because they like this work. They haven't seen this work yet, but it reminds them of other content, borrowed emotional response. So, hey, it's Vision, Scarlet Witch. It reminds me of the comic books. It reminds me of the previous movies they were in. And there's a TV guide, so that reminds me of, the past. And it's done 50 style TV serving trays. That's another borrowed emotional response. It's the good old days, the innocent days of America, of Americana. So yeah, people are actually hyperventilating over other people, not even their own, other people's swag bags, and they dream that small now. They dream of the chance to have their own swag bag. That is very interesting to me. And this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. This took a little longer than I wanted because of that downtime, unfortunately. But check this out. This is really interesting. Patrisse Cullors, we've used her as an example before of, selling out. She got that, buying in, selling out, whatever you want to say. She got that overall deal from Warner Media. We've talked about it before, where I missed this when it first came out, November 19, 2020. Some things fall between the cracks, but this was really, really interesting, right? So we've talked about her overall deal with Warner. Warner Media gave her this first look deal overall. She's gonna be doing all this stuff to and check this part out. So this part goes: the activist and producer on the fight for racial justice in 2021, how Hollywood can leverage its power to help, and reaching out to the Biden-Harris team. Quote, we have not heard back, end quote. So again, part of this shaming tactic to try to get, this is when they were about 20 days in without hearing from them and they were still begging. We talked about this before, but notice how everything is flattened in one sentence, like they're all equal. Yes, we asked her about fighting for racial justice in 2021, how Hollywood can help, and your ability to reach out to the Biden-Harris team. So we talk about her being a TV writer. She recently signed an overall deal with Warner Television, and she co-hosted a streaming event on YouTube featuring such Hollywood allies as America Ferrera, Chelsea Handler, and Tessa Thompson. And they asked her how did it go, how was it being with those celebrities and whatever. And then this is where it gets really interesting, and this is where it reminds me of that thing where, that thing that we just looked at, Frontline, where the people didn't even know what selling out was. So didn't even know it was something. They didn't know what it was, much less that it's something to be even ashamed of, right? So they asked this question: how can Hollywood play a role in fighting racism in the industry? This is what she says. She goes, we know the current occupant of the White House will continue to use vitriol and dog whistle tactics to rally white supremacists and derail the election results. America is a democracy, not a dictatorship, so buys into that American exceptionalism. And she has to, because they won't give her work because white liberals believe in it as well. Despite her complaints, she has to make sure she makes clear she still buys into this is America not being true to its ideas. And Black Lives Matter is prepared to protect, preserve, and defend our vote. We need voices throughout the various fields of entertainment to join us in this fight. What she's trying to say is she wants to meet stars and make connections with them. We must control the narrative and not allow the legitimate and most basic acts of democracy to be twisted against us. We have to push back at every turn. Use your platform to drown out those who attempt to spread misinformation on the electoral process. So he's talking about Hollywood people. Use your platform, and by use a platform, invite her onto it. Lift up stories of everyday people that are doing the civic duty as election volunteers. Black Lives Matter is often targeted and blamed for violence incited by white counter-protesters. That's her way of saying, we're safe Negroes. It's the white agitators. Conservatives like to use, or different people like to use outside agitators as a way to say, oh, the Negroes aren't really that mad. It's Antifa and all this stuff. She's basically doing the same thing from a supposed left-wing example. If she gets tied, and Black Lives Matter gets tied to real violent coup insurrection, we're fucking sick of this shit, and we're gonna take down democracy, like real scary protests. She's not gonna be co-signed by Hollywood. She's not gonna get a Warner overall deal. She has to show herself as a sheepdog that's willing to corral Black anger into safe expression and toothless opportunism. So that's a little key with. That's terrible shade. If you're a white person, you're willing to put your body in the line, burning stuff down and rioting and doing all this stuff, by all means, go ahead, because I'd rather you do it on the front line because you have your white privilege and you'll probably get in less trouble for it, and also it's like you're putting your body in the way between Black bodies and the police and using your privilege and you could probably survive a trip to jail better than a 1 or 2 time felon who's at the protest and whatever. So, but I mean, I think it's kind of greasy what she said right there, that she basically did the whole outside agitator Antifa thing. You should be ashamed. First off, how shameful I would be as a supposed radical to be saying, yeah, the hardcore stuff was done by the white people. But she doesn't even realize she should be doing the hardcore stuff. That's part of the people not realizing what selling out means. Like their whole definition and conceptions of things is twisted. So then she goes and says to the Hollywood people, this is still her giving advice to the Hollywood people, help push back against these false narratives. Help push back against these false narratives and lift up the many examples of peaceful protests led by BLM and our allies. But basically, they're afraid of the real radicals getting the attention and their impotence in getting change being documented, because they didn't have much to do with this latest round of protests. That's the secret. They had nothing to really do with it. It was other people, and they want to cut off those other people, the kneecaps, and get the attention and make sure that they get the credit for it. So they said, help push back against Hollywood people, help push back against the false narratives that other people are involved for this protest, or that we're radical. We don't want to look to it because we're not going to be useful to white liberals, and Joe Biden is not going to want to talk to and hire someone who is involved in throwing Molotov cocktails and who's really serious about reform. Why would Joe Biden want to talk to someone who's seriously about defunding the police and being radical? They don't want that, right? So yeah, and make sure to lift up the examples that we're attached to, not the other ones. We need allies that are willing to boldly stand with us, not just for the likes, but against and through the hate. And she mentions her Breathe Act, and the need for financial support, whatever. And then she goes, what's your ideal scenario for where Hollywood is a year from now when it comes to inclusion, not reform, not overhaul, not changing the systemic government, but you being included in Hollywood's inner circle? That's what inclusion is. You just get a seat at the table. So what are you talking about? Are you talking about defunding the police? Are you talking about George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and reshaping American society? Are you talking about being able to get swag bags. This is the swag bag Shill. She's a swag bag Shill herself at the end of the day. And this is her response to her ideal scenario. I'm one of the first Black community organizers to get a huge deal with Warner Brothers. I'd love to see that happen for more folks across our movement. Now, I want you to think about what you said. That's what's your ideal scenario for where Hollywood is a year from now when it comes to inclusion? Part one, that's an insane question to ask of an activist who hasn't even accomplished her actual activism goal yet. To actually ask her in advance, what do you see happening for you in Hollywood from this? And they haven't even accomplished anything yet. There haven't even been trials for any of the recent police brutality cases that happened yet. Like, what? Why are you even asking them questions to jump ahead to what do you see like Hollywood playing? Like, they expect you to be bought in from the beginning. This is what I mean when there's no selling out. In an era of selling out, you at least expect the person to be sincere and about it in the beginning, and then the purchase to come later. But selling out doesn't exist, so she's expected to come bought in already, right? And she didn't even talk about content. She could at least said, well, I think Hollywood should have a lot of movies about X, Y, and Z that advocate, and she doesn't have to advocate for propaganda or anything. She just mentions jobs for herself. She goes, and let's start over again because you've just got to see this. I'm one of the first Black community organizers to get a huge deal with Warner Brothers. He said one of the first. Like, she considers that a civil rights iconic moment to her. Like, you know, this is a Black first, you know? And she goes, I'd love to see that happen for more folks across our movement. So you're hoping to see them compromised by corporate money. But I'm using the word compromise. Honestly, it's not compromise because you never had the value to begin with. I think so many of us storytellers have been without resources for so long. I am very excited about being able to tell more stories from my specific perspective. I would love to see more Black folks in the writer's room, as well as more Black showrunners and executives. I think Hollywood could use its power and influence to help build narrative power for Black people in the industry and outside of the industries. And that's basically her. This is just a bag. This is her activist swag bag. You know, I say get the bag. Yeah, she's getting the bag. And this is what they ask her next: what sort of projects are you working on under your new Warner Brothers deal? She goes, it's all in the works, but I'm very excited. Just know it's going to be very Black and very amazing. My work behind the camera will be an organic extension of the work I've been doing for the last 20 years to ensure Black lives in local communities, the country and entertainment industry, and the world. Now, first off, very Black. What does that mean? Like, I always said these people have authenticity issues. So they always got to keep saying blackity black, black, black. Like Damon Young's book is, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you blacker. They're always talking, you know, blackish, Black AF. These people have such status and authenticity anxiety, but also part of the fueling for the anxiety is that they know that they exist to be Negro whisperers to white people, and they're being paid by white people to give them this kind of watered down version of authenticity. And they have imposter syndrome because they know if at any minute we reveal that we're as new to Blackness or uncomfortable with authentic Blackness as you are, and we're actually, you might as well be doing this job yourself. That's how little more we know about Blackness than you do. They're gonna lose their utility to these people as Negro whisperers. So that's why they have to constantly keep saying, by the way, we're Black, blackity black. You've never seen anything Black as this, you know. Damon Young profile piece said the blackest thing that happened to the internet, and his book is called name of Damon Young's book is What Doesn't Kill You Make You Blacker. And yeah, the show's Blackish, Black AF. I'm repeating myself, but yeah, it's but again, this reminds me of the Frontline piece. When you look at it, of this thing where we don't even know we're supposed to be ashamed. And it's interesting, it goes across the board because when you're a content creator, you just float around. So whether you're an activist, whether you're an artist, whether you're a so-called journalist, or whether you're a critic. So what examples we had? We had a so-called journalist who's supposed to be doing a magazine profile. That's one industry. We had Chrissy Teigen, who I'm not sure exactly what she's supposed to be anymore. She's just an influencer, I guess. You know, trying to shill to Biden. We have Patrisse Cullors, who's supposed to be an activist, but now she's an activist slash TV writer slash content creator or whatever. And at the end of the day, they're all just influencers or wannabe influencers. All the other stuff is decoy jobs. Chrissy Teigen's jobs are decoy jobs. Model slash cook slash Martha Stewart. No, you're an influencer. That's what it is. These people are all influencers. They all have one job. That's why they just have 50 decoy jobs. And because all their jobs are decoy jobs and they're just influencers slash content creators, Patrisse Cullors is not going to be a good artist or a good activist. She's only going to be a good influencer and a good striver. Like, her art is going to be as inconsequential at the end of the day as her activism. The only thing she's accomplished is being an influencer. Because what's the only thing Black Lives Matter has accomplished is raising the profile of the three founders. There's not a single piece of legislation, not a single anything that the national level has done. There's not a single lasting impact or justice that has been gotten for anybody that you can point to as them. All they can do is just enrich themselves and other elites. The closest they can come to from Black Lives Matter 1.0 is Oscar So White. Who does that help on the ground? You know, it just helps celebrities who themselves are becoming yeah. So I mean, when it's time for her to talk about her work, notice how vague she is. She just says, yeah, she can talk about all the people she wants to meet and all the connections she wants to make and all the ways that Hollywood celebrities can create creative synergy. She's good at marketing herself. When actually talking about what she's working on, it's very vague. Yeah, it's just gonna be very black and very amazing. That's all she says. It's very black and very amazing. Because she doesn't really care about the content. She has no passion about it. So she can't even describe it in a passionate way. You know, it's just an afterthought to her. It's just a decoy job or a means to get the real prize, which is the bag, the platform, the swag bag. And when they ask her the second question, this is why I'm saying she's not a good artist or a good activist. When they ask her about her activism, 2020 was such a watershed moment for the embrace of Black Lives Matter. When you look over the past few years, what do you see? And more vague corporate speak platitudes. Black Lives Matter started in the streets 7 years ago. When the system failed us, we took the conversation to the only place where we could be heard. We built, and again, she's reading her resume. That's what she's really doing here. We built the largest human rights and social movement in the history of the world. She said the history of the world. She said the history of the world. In building the largest social movement in history, we organized across industries, calling for everyone to join our movement. Transforming a country takes time, and as a community organizer, I understand that we must work with every single community who is willing to show up for cause. Okay, that didn't answer the question. What was the watershed moment? There is not an actual watershed moment in there, and the reason there's no watershed moment is because she has no accomplishments as an activist to point to, really, as far as Black Lives Matter. I know they got some things done with prisons in LA in the local level, which is cool. I think her name was attached to that. But Black Lives Matter National doesn't have a watershed moment to point to. Why does she point to? How big her network was. That's all this paragraph is. And what is building a big network? That's being an influencer. That's all it is. She basically said the watershed moment was what a good influencer I was able to come. She didn't even say the most effective. She said the largest social movement in the world. She said largest social movement in history across industries. All she can point to is her reach, and the reach feeds the other things that she wants. The only thing she's actually passionate about in the article, how she can connect and create synergy with Hollywood people. B. Scott, I still don't know what the serial thing is about. There's a lot of, who is the lady on the check? I don't know what the checkbox is. I guess I have to Google it. Yeah, but that's basically it. I just kind of wanted to show how everything is floating into everything else shamelessly. Everything is all merged together. And that's that. Everyone, thanks. If you donated, thank you for that. If you haven't, but you enjoy our commentary, then consider donating. We have the ways on the bottom: Venmo or Cash App at Champagne Sharks, PayPal, champagnesharks@gmail.com. Become a patron at patreon.com/Champagne Sharks, or hit the super chat button. All that's appreciated. All that gets reinvested into the show or toward our student loans. So thank you. And yeah, Chrissy's on the checks box. Not surprised. She's everywhere all the time. And we'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate you having a Saturday night and choosing to spend it with us. Love y'all.